Hi, I'm Ilene Dillon, and I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you today to share my material from this wonderful book, the Wellness Universe's Guide to Complete Self-Care. And I'm just delighted that you're here, and I love reading aloud, so let's get started. My chapter is chapter 20, Emotional Mastery. Learning life's lessons to create an amazing life. My name is Ilene Dillon, LCSW. My story. Though I have always been an optimist and made the most of it, my childhood was miserable. Here are a few of the highlights. I was neglected for the first 2 years of my life, roaming my neighborhood naked and hungry, often taken in by the neighbors. It was enough for my father to be awarded custody of two little girls, my 4-year-old sister and me, age 2, as a single father in 1945. My father removed us forcefully from our home, introduced us immediately to our new mother without explanation. Children were expected to be adaptable. I attended boarding schools during the week from age 2 to 4.5, cared for on the weekends by my father. I was born when he was stationed in New Guinea during World War II. I didn't know him when he came and took us away, giving my mother a bloody nose from his forceful slap. I taught myself to read when my sister started school so that I could be with her every day. She was the only constant mother figure I had ever known. As an infant, I attached to her. That attachment saved my life. I spent a year with my step-grandparents starting at 5 years old. It was the best year of my childhood, living on the farm and being healed by my grandparents' love, animals, and nature. The downside was that when I returned home, nobody seemed to recall that I had been away, insisting I had experiences with them that I had not had. I felt terrible. My father was a career Air Force officer. We moved every 18 months to 3 years. I went to 14 different schools before high school graduation. My father insisted we make A's and B's without concern for the different learning environments and curricula. Making friends was temporary because they, or we, moved away and we never saw them again. As in many military families of the time, there was abuse of many kinds, following the "a man's home is his castle" philosophy. If we got angry or cried, we were slapped until we stopped. This meant we learned to hold emotions inside. When emotions are held inside, they grow. As a young adult, I was filled with anger and rage. Is it any wonder that I married at the age of 19 and moved all the way across the country from my family? My young husband was also escaping a challenging family situation. So together we did a lot of healing. We both got into therapy and started healing emotional wounds. We learned to snow ski and backpack. We enjoyed being kids together. We got a lot of help from a couple who owned the houseboat dock we lived on, who helped us grow up and be more complete people. We worked and helped ourselves and each other through college and then graduate school. We were together nearly 8 years before our daughter, whom we consciously conceived, was born. She was 10 months old when my husband came home one day and announced he was moving out because he was not ready to be a father. I yelled at him, "What do you want me to do? Send her back?" When he left, a dam burst inside of me. All the anger and hate and fury that had been growing inside of me since my beginning here on earth flooded out of me. I watched in horror as it dumped onto my precious little child. Desperately, I started searching for what I needed to know or learn to keep from ruining my daughter's young life with the anger I could not stop. University libraries in those pre-internet days held no answers. Educational institutions did not offer standalone classes on anger. There were no answers to why do we have anger? What makes it so powerful? Can we get rid of it? Or will it ever end? I sought answers everywhere. By then, I was a licensed marriage counselor, so I studied my clients, talked with my colleagues, and read whatever I could find. Seth Speaks, The Nature of Personal Reality, as well as professional books. I worked more through my own psychotherapy. I joined a spiritual awareness class and began to learn ancient spiritual principles onto which I could hold, such as energy follows attention, and whatever we pay attention to, we tend to become. After several years, I had answers to most of my questions. They began to fall together into an understanding of what emotions are, energy, what their purpose is, to help us learn lessons, and how to work with them, partner with them, and hear and use their message. Not only did I become a recovered angry person at long last, but I had developed a powerful way of working with all emotions. Eventually, I realized I was in charge of my emotional life. Emotions were no longer running me. I started calling this state of being, the one where I was in charge of emotions and they were no longer in charge of my life, emotional mastery. It was so exciting that I started testing it out with clients who volunteered to experiment. I taught it in classes and through speeches. I incorporated it into the system of parenting consciously that I developed as a single parent, make lemonade out of lemons, and was teaching in the US and around the world. Other people's lives started improving too. My aha moment took a long, laborious time to emerge, but it did. In 2019, I wrote and published my first book, Emotions in Motion. Now in publication is my second book, In Manipulation. Next year, I'll be publishing Turning Anger into Enthusiasm. I intend to write a book a year, and I have several books in mind. In the year of this writing, I'm turning 78. When my husband died 4 years previously, I decided to clear out and sell our home. I closed down my brick and mortar practice, closed down my internet radio program after 13 years, and bought a 24-foot recreational vehicle. In the following 3 years, I visited 31 U.S. states and 4 Canadian provinces, writing, teaching, and making friends along the way. I'm now fearless. While we can't get rid of emotions because they're energy and they can't be created or destroyed, I can certainly reduce their presence and impact in my life. I now feel like I don't do fear. It comes up so seldom. I'm a healthy and happy person, enjoying my life and looking forward to quite a bit more of it. Part of my message to the world is this: no matter what happens in your life, when you learn to live from the inside out, you can overcome the negative effects. In fact, we're designed to heal ourselves and learn the lessons life brings. It's exciting for me to be sharing with the world what I've learned to help speed the healing and learning process of others. We can tap or meditate emotions away, but I advocate that we work with emotions first so we learn the lessons our experiences bring. And this we do best by living from the inside out. The tool, living from the inside out. The secret to having your life flow smoothly and calmly with you empowered and joyful is to live from the inside out. Living life from the inside out is not actually a tool, it's a total mindset change. It requires an understanding of how life works and how we can work much more effectively with it than most of us have ever been taught to do. Let's start by setting the scene. Earth is a giant school. All of us human beings have come here to learn and grow. We learn by having experiences. Each experience is an opportunity to learn and grow. We don't have to use the opportunity and learn the lesson, but a familiar yet curious thing happens if we don't. Say your experience is that someone in your life acts disrespectfully to you. This doesn't feel good, of course, but since most of us don't like change and put it off as long as we can, you may not act definitively to end the disrespect. It happens once and you think about putting a stop to it. But you postpone your action, not really wanting to hurt anyone or oust them from your life. It happens again, and again it feels painful to you. In fact, acts of disrespect occur in your life over and over again. Each time one is perpetrated, it's more painful. You might put off dealing with the disrespect in your life for months or even years. Your pain increases and increases. This is what happens when we have been presented with a lesson and we avoid it or refuse to learn it. We all do this, tolerating uncomfortable, painful, and difficult situations rather than changing or ending them. When the lessons of our experiences are not learned, they repeat and repeat, each time causing us more pain. This is nature's way of motivating us to make change and grow. When we live from the outside in, we think someone is picking on us, fate has it in for us, or something is wrong with us. In reality, we're just not learning the lesson that's been presented. Emotions accompany our experiences. They are given to us as helpers, starting from the beginning of our life and staying with us 24/7, 365 for our entire lives. They have to be important since they're with us for our total lives, even if we develop Alzheimer's and aren't in the world cognitively, we still have emotions. They come up with our experiences because they have messages for us. When we decode and apply the message of an emotion, we can learn the lessons of our experiences. See my book, Emotions in Motion, for the message of 12 common emotions. Do you want the good, actually the great news? The second we learn the lesson of our experience, that lesson is finished. It's over. No more repetition of the experience or the pain. That lesson is complete. We get a break, then are presented with the next experience containing a lesson. We're in a giant school. We can follow our own pace in doing the learning, but the learning itself never stops. When I discovered this, I concluded that learning the lesson presented by a particular experience was the first thing I wanted to do after I had the experience. I started embracing learning as soon as I could after an experience and learned something else important. The more you embrace learning here on the earth, the easier that learning becomes. Less pain, more gain. How we learn our lessons. It's actually pretty easy. We can just ask what we need to learn from a particular experience. We keep asking and listening, and the answer will be given to us. Then we can use it to complete our learning. Who do we ask? It depends on what you believe. You can ask your higher mind, your intuitive self, a saint, your guides, or God, or another deity in whom you believe. It helps if it's an authority larger than yourself because it's easier to believe they can see and will know more. It really doesn't matter who you ask, but it does matter that you do ask because of the principle that says help that isn't asked for never works. This means that if we don't ask for help, it won't be given. When we do ask for help, it's readily available. I once was skiing at the top of Mount Bachelor, a cone-shaped mountain in central Oregon. It was icy and I fell. My ski clothing was slick So I started spinning as I was slipping down the mountain. I relaxed as fully as I could, but every time my feet were pointing down, I slammed the edges of my skis into the ice to see if I could stop myself. It didn't work. Ice chunks flew into the air, but the spinning didn't stop. I began to notice some huge boulders below me. I was heading straight for them. I started talking to God. I need help here, God. I do not want to hit my head on those rocks. Please help me to avoid those rocks. I didn't know what would happen, but I knew nothing could if I didn't ask. When I arrived in the area of the boulders, I slipped around them in such a way that I didn't hit my head or any part of me. In fact, sliding a full third of the way down the mountain, I only injured one thumb, which happened when I arrived at last onto softer snow and rolled over my own hand. Ask. Ask, what is it that I need to know from having this experience? I'm ready to learn whatever it takes. Please show me what I need to learn. You might also want to ask, what would I need to believe in order to have this experience? We live life based on what we believe, and most of our beliefs are hidden from us. So this is a good way to find out what they are. Beliefs can be changed. Keep asking as long as it takes until you get an answer. Listen to the answer. You may have to do a little decoding or look into your past or notice something you need to change. Use the message of the emotions that accompanied the experience and the answer you're given to unlock the puzzle and do the learning so you learn and grow. Inside out. To do this well, you need to change your mindset. Instead of being in a world where others do things to you, where someone else is to blame, where fate has been for you, or your parents didn't give you a good start in life, shift. Shift to realizing that life works better when you live it from the inside out, which means that you accept the notion that experiences you have are tailored to help you learn, that you can only change yourself, not anyone else. Realize that the only time you have the power to make change is in the present, that what you have inside of you, you tend to attract from outside. Our world operates like a mirror, with the people and experiences we have mirroring ourselves back to us. Except that you, like every other person in the world, are individually responsible for your own life. You are a co-creator of your life, creating by what you pay attention to and through your beliefs, choices, and actions. I used to steal, usually office supplies from my place of business, something I learned in my childhood. Others also stole from me. When at last I decided to stop stealing, my life changed drastically. Not only did people stop stealing from me or cheating me, people remembered to pay me money I had long forgotten about, sometimes with interest. My experience outside of me was mirroring who I was inside. I didn't steal, and nobody stole from me. It's just that simple. If you stop judging yourself, others will soon stop judging you too, and you'll stop judging others. When you focus on loving yourself and living by practicing love no matter what, you will be met with more love. Whatever you have inside of you will be reflected from outside of you. It's because we're energy beings. These days, we're all becoming more aware of our energy nature. Emotions are energy. When we follow the message of the emotions we experience, life moves with greater ease. Love says, come closer. Loneliness says, bring more energy into yourself. Love yourself more. Fear says, unknown ahead. Exercise caution and stay alert. Jealousy says, get more creative and create what you want in life. Following these instructions inside of ourselves and for ourselves changes our life forever. Living life inside out proceeds this way. 1. You have an experience. 2. You feel emotions such as anger, fear, or loneliness. You identify the message of the emotions. 3. You embrace the opportunity to learn by deciding to learn and asking for help. 4. You use the information you've gathered from the experience, the emotions, and the help to learn the lesson. 5. You give yourself permission to change and alter your beliefs, actions, and perceptions inside of yourself. 6. You feel what this change feels like. 7. You allow yourself to experience gratitude to yourself and for the lesson and the help. 8. You rest, then move on. I love experiments. Instead of asking yourself to change everything the way we do with New Year's resolutions, decide to experiment with your new learning or behavior. Do it every day for at least 3 weeks. If you don't want to continue after the 3 weeks, change back. At first, you may feel like all you do is learn lessons and make change, but keep it up, because once you learn to live from the inside out, your entire experience of life will change for the better. You'll make lasting change which is able to take you happily and easily through the rest of your life. Be grateful. The principle is this: gratitude is the law of increase. Whatever you are grateful for, you will get more of. This is about the author. Ilene Dillon, MSW, LMFT, LCSW, is a global transformation specialist who is changing human lives one mastered emotion at a time. A recovered angry person, Ilene heads Emotional Mastery for Life. She offers international speaking, in-person and virtual workshops, and media for helping people become emotional masters, end manipulation, master anger, and develop fearless living. She is the author of Emotions in Motion, Mastering Life's Built-in Navigation System, and is publishing Ending Manipulation. Still practicing 50 years as a marriage and family therapist and clinical social worker to help people bring their lives back into harmony with spiritual principles, Ilene leads people to transform their lives from the inside out, rediscovering and developing self-love, high self-esteem, happiness, and joy, smoothly and easily incorporating these in every aspect and relationship in their lives. A global speaker who frequently appears on summits and podcasts, Ilene offers tools and wisdom for living our best lives. Ilene is birth mother of 2 and adoptive mother of 1 with 3 adult stepdaughters. Her husband, neurosurgeon Dr. Robert Fink, died in 2016. In 2017, at the age of 74, Ilene closed down her brick-and-mortar business, sold their home, bought a 24-foot RV, and began roaming the U.S. and Canada with her 8-pound Maltipoo dog, Pi. She incorporates into her own life what she teaches and no longer does fear, anger, depression, jealousy, loneliness, guilt, or shame. Thank you.